everybody. Welcome to the seventh TCS Talks, which is organized by the Turkish-Canadian Society. We started this series in 2020 when the pandemic started. So Turkish-Canadian Society is one of the oldest Turkish societies in Canada. We are located in British Columbia, but with our programs promoting Turkish culture and arts, we not only aim to reach out the people of BC and Canada, but beyond. And today, in our TCS Talks, we are welcoming Ece Yenigün, who is from the States. She is a second-year political science student at the Union College, and we are very pleased and honored to be together with her. Now I will pass on the words to our marketing manager, Begüm Kabataş, and she will continue.
Thank you. Thanks, Demet Eder. Welcome back, and in honor of Commemoration of Ataturk Youth and Sports Day, May 19th, which is regarded as the beginning of Turkish War of Independence in the official history of Turkish Republic, we wanted to highlight one of the many successful Turkish youth women, Ece Yenigün. We came across with Ece just a couple of weeks ago on April 16th. At Ata UN International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace webinar. She had a great speech there, as we will discuss it in the further moments of this conversation. First of all, I would like to give a quick intro about Ece. Ece Yenigün is currently in her second year of university, studying as political science major at Union College in New York. Throughout her elementary, middle, and high school years, Ece attended the United Nations International School, where she successfully completed the International Baccalaureate program and earned her IB diploma, studying biology and sociocultural anthropology as higher level subjects, as well as composing an extended essay in the French language. Her proficiency in 4 languages, yes, 4 languages, English, Turkish, and Spanish, has allowed her to become the aspiring communicator as she is today. In addition to academic excellence, Ece was the captain of both the girls' varsity basketball and volleyball team during her high school years. Within her 14 years of experience as a violinist, Ece has performed Carnegie Hall twice and continues to portray her commitment and aspiration for the instrument by playing with Union College String Orchestra. Moreover, Ece has also pursued her interest in humanitarian work through internship opportunities such as the New Neighbors Partnership with Columbia University, along with volunteer work with the Turkish Red Crescent community, Türk Kızılay. At Nizip and El Beyli, temporary refugee accommodation centers in Gaziantep, Turkey. During her days of volunteering services, Ece had the opportunity of mentoring Syrian refugee children, whereby she assisted in aid and food distribution, taught English and Turkish classes, as well as participated in arts and sports activities, such as implementation of ceramics course under the framework of Geneva Rehabilitation Program. Such a biography you have there.
Yes, very impressive, very.
Yeah, we will come all of these in a couple of minutes. Before we do that, I would like to take all of you back Ece's speech on April 16th, and then let's give her a listen, and then we'll come back and start our conversation here.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. It's a pleasure to talk to everyone today. I'd like to thank the Assembly of Turkish American Associations, as well as ATAA UN Relations Committee. Also the Turkish Women's League of America, Ms. Alev Wyland and Yücel Tobolora, for giving me the opportunity to attend this panel as a youth representative. So I'd like to keep the conversation going. I want, more importantly, have an intergenerational dialogue in an effort to, work together, like we said, to construct a society where the safety and security of people are the central priority. So, as a great leader and founding father of the Republic of Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk once said, "Peace at home is peace in the world." I wish to state that I was born into a family where my entire life was consisted of listening to all these stories about conflict or post-conflict in many countries all over the world, ranging from Asia, Far Asia, Balkans, Africa. Before I was born, my father served as a peacekeeper in the Balkans, aiming to establish peace in Macedonia and Bosnia as well, where ethnic conflict was very much prevalent. A lot of people lost their lives, and a lot were forced to move and find shelter somewhere else. I hear and follow many of these conflicts and these stories today. For example, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Libya, Mali, and due to my father's his vision and his emphasis on this constant staying engaged, commitment, important for staying engaged. And I learned to never underestimate being committed and to collective and global efforts. Our one person's problem is everyone's problem. The win-win analogy I like that analogy. That was very the way to put it. The world, I think, we're in this transition. Some would argue that we're moving into a world that is much more competitive or instrumental diplomacy. But it's fair to say that if we're going to manage our relations, then we'll need far more doses, if you will, of stabilization diplomacy. And that means diplomacy regarding confidence building measures, reviving arms control, strengthening non-proliferation regimes, and so forth. Really, we're going to, I believe, in a new social, economic, and political order, a new paradigm. And we're still in this transition, but it will absolutely be a different perception of how we live. More globalization, perhaps more interconnectedness, more equality, more sustainability, and many other things. As we already mentioned, the multilateral system is no longer only about the member states. In today's interconnected, independent, one could say, governments and intergovernmental organizations alone cannot effectively address complex global challenges, as we referring to history as well. And these challenges require a collective effort. It will require efforts from everyone, a certain number of actors that we discussed, the international organizations such as the United Nations, civil society, private sectors, academia, and so on. They all should have a place at the negotiation table. But at the same time, when we're talking about all these actors in terms of adapting to a new multilateral system, there's also two very important issues, and I'd like to talk about those. Even if we have all these actors around the table, if these actors are not inclusive enough, there will be no effective result. And when I speak in common inclusivity, I don't simply mean gender balance, but I also mean age, status, race. An example, like without female representation in all of these key actors, there will not be gender balance, a strong leadership, and in turn this applies to young people, the youth. If they're not participating in decision making, which essentially affects our future, then there is no effective leadership in place. And the increasing engagement of the youth, I think, is is the new multilateralism. The preparedness of delegates, different people to compromise with one another and meet each other halfway. Multilateral diplomacy gives us an opportunity to learn from others, to make our voices heard and to make our contributions. And lessons from others essentially, benefit the overall global effort. While the United Nations as an organization is making a great effort to address conflicts, and each country has responsibility to use diplomacy to prevent conflict and sustaining peace in their own borders, in their own region. I think wherever you work, whoever you are, a student, you can still participate in multilateral work. And what's more important is you should. If you're not involved in multilateral activities, if you're not participating in, the sustainable development goals, as we've discussed, if you're not doing everything you can in order to work for a better future, then essentially there's no point. And I would like to thank everyone for the time. I think the intergenerational dialogue is crucial, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This is great speech. Thank you so much. That was a really good panel discussion, and I think you really contributed a lot to that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, such an inspiring speech, indeed. Again, coming back to our today's conversation in honor of commemoration of Ataturk Youth and Sports Day, being a young Turkish woman, as we're celebrating the 100 years of Turkish Republic, do you mind to name the 2-3 visions and values that are most important for the future generations from your point of view?
Okay, so firstly, again, I want to thank both of you as well as Turkish-Canadian Society for having me here, and again for displaying my speech with ATA UN Relations. I really enjoyed participating and learning as well from the professors, Professor Ece Yenigün, as well as the other guest speakers. I think this generation has grown in the belief that history has ended before them, almost like revolutions and wars, and all this was before them. But I think we live in an era where we're so comfortable and we seek comfort and stability, and I think everything almost becomes the same. It becomes calculable. It becomes boundaries, lifestyles, growing standards of living. And so, back to your question, in the honor of May 19th, I think we should go back to the strong foundations that Turkey has established by Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, and with his relationships amongst his citizens. Ataturk loved children, and in his words, I think children meant love. And I think some of the values that we need to revisit, some of the basic ideas, essentially is dignity, equality, and happiness. I think recognizing respect and design for human uniqueness, human connectedness, I think that's very important. Not to mention the importance of developing attitudes and values through education. That's crucial. I think, I don't think age is a limit. I think, some examples from my life, I have tried to partner with as many people as well as organizations like my school, for example. I organized, I tried to organize many clothes drives, food drives, some which were very successful, and I got to send these packages to some of the children in, you know, Haiti, for example, or in some parts of Africa, and seeing the smile and the joy on those children's faces, that was the biggest difference that I could make. And essentially, so what I'm saying is, little goes so long. I think little things go a very long way, and I think so does generosity. And so in that aspect, maybe, you know, changing our mood and changing our thinking towards the world, you know, as well as children and the youth. And, you know, having conversations like this are very, very important. I think they're more intimate, and, you know, debates are more heated when they take place among a small group of individuals, you know, with passionate and diverse minds. So I think true transformative leadership is all about unpacking the future, not so much trying to rekindle what has happened in the past. And, you know, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I can agree more.
Yeah, definitely. Back to Ataturk's principles and also his values. We have to remember, I guess, how he valued education, how our alphabet was redone, all the things happened with human rights and civil society, becoming a civil society. Also how he respected science and arts. I think it's also very important. I agree with you. We shouldn't be just referring to the past all the time. I agree with you. But still, some of these values, interestingly, we still have to fight on this earth. It's after almost like 100 years, we are still after some of these very basic things, values. So what do you think about that? How do you look at that? Why, as human beings all around the world, why are we still struggling with this basic stuff? Still we are after that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think there's just one answer. I think there's I think, you know, in a world where we have so many distractions now, and not just distractions, but, you know, we have these global problems and these conflicts and these inequalities, and they just keep progressing, and you know, I would say maybe is it that we have lost our interconnectedness, our the significance of understanding people. I think we have very much lost. And, you know, if we were to listen to understand rather listen to respond, like, you know, that I think already is a
Huge step.
yeah. And you know, you're right, not just children, and that goes for inspiring all types of people and encouraging all types of people to not only, you know, show what they believe in, defend what they believe in. And I think it's really interesting that you mentioned, you know, human rights. So 2023, the year of 2023, is the 75th anniversary for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this declaration, I think, has shaped so much of the multilateral culture, if you would say that is, you know, how we approach this concept of multilateralism after, you know, certain very iconic periods, I would say, in history. And it's you know, you're right, it's very basic, but it's, you know, again, it's the heart of what the member states are, together with, you know, the charter. It's the heart of, you know, what they believe in, most often act in terms of, you know, respecting human rights, and in terms of also advancing how these human rights are.
And you know, probably for sure, that the young Turkish Republic was one which was actually invited to join the UN. They didn't, they didn't knock the door, but actually was invited. I think that also tells a big thing about Turkey and the young Turkish Republic at that time, how it was respected, how it was, valued, I guess, after a 4-year independence war and setting up a republic with all these modern basic values. I think it was really important. A secular, democratic state in that geographic area at that time really, I think, told a lot. So even UN recognized this, and we were invited to join, right?
Great. Yeah, for the sake of time, let's stop it here. I know we can discuss about this all night long. Thank you so much, Ece. I know we had quite a time difference, and then you stayed up for all of us in the honor of. Oh, thank you. In honor of commemoration of Ataturk and Youth and Sports Day, May 19th, and the 100th years of this. We would like to thank you again, Ece, being so inspirational and so admiring for all the other young generations coming up in Turkey and all over the world, whoever watching us today. Thank you, Demet Eder, for joining us with your great thoughts as well. Any final thoughts, Ece, that you'd like to mention before we close it out?
Yes, please. I would really love to hear your last words.
Last words. I hope we continue to see positive change. I hope, celebrations and appreciating days like this also, not just UN International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace, but also, May 19th youth celebration. It's I think keeping up the appreciation for the meaning behind these days. I maybe last few words.
Yes, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.